Meet David Kessler and Jack Goodman, two adventurous young Americans, both college students with a thirst for discovery and a love for travel. They're not just best friends, they're practically brothers. And they've been dreaming about exploring Europe together for years, saving up and planning every detail. Their journey begins with a sense of excitement and anticipation, their faces lit up with big smiles and laughter as they set out into the unknown. Both David and Jack are endlessly curious, eager to experience new places, meet interesting people, and immerse themselves in cultures different from their own. Their first stop is England, where they arrive full of energy, ready to dive into adventure and see what the world has to offer. With backpacks slung over their shoulders, they set off on foot through the picturesque English countryside, taking in every sight, sound, and smell. The landscape is breathtaking. Lush green fields stretch out before them, and the rolling hills create a peaceful, almost storybook atmosphere. As they walk, they talk about their hopes for the trip, share stories, and joke around, their friendship growing even stronger with every step. Although London is on their list, they decide to take the road less traveled, exploring the charm of smaller English towns and villages first. They savor the fresh country air, the quiet roads, and the sense of freedom that comes from wandering without a strict plan. At first, everything feels safe and welcoming. The villages are quaint and the locals seem friendly. But as the sun begins to set and shadows grow longer, David and Jack start to sense that something is off, a subtle unease creeping in. Little do they know, their adventure is about to take a dark and dangerous turn, leading them into a nightmarish situation they could never have imagined. David and Jack walk for hours, their boots crunching on the gravel as they make their way deeper into the heart of the English countryside. The landscape stretches out before them, rolling hills dotted with wildflowers and ancient stone walls, giving everything a timeless, almost storybook feel. As they walk, the sky slowly gets gray, and clouds start to move in, drifting across the horizon and casting long shadows over the fields. The cheerful sunlight fades, replaced by a moody, shifting light that makes the countryside look even more mysterious. It starts to get cold, and the wind blows harder, whipping through the trees and tugging at their jackets. The air feels damp and heavy, and every gust makes them pull their collars up a little higher. The countryside looks empty, almost deserted, and they see, very few people along the way. The occasional farmhouse appears in the distance, but for the most part, it's just the two of them and the endless road ahead. To pass the time, they talk about school and life back home in America, sharing stories and memories. They joke about their teachers, reminisce about old friends, and wonder what their families are doing right now. Even as the weather changes and the wind picks up, the friends do their best to keep their spirits up. They laugh at the absurdity of their situation, finding humor in the gloomy weather and their muddy shoes. They sing songs to stay happy, their voices echoing down the empty lanes. It's kind of sweet, and for a moment, it almost feels like an adventure from their childhood. As night comes and the sky darkens, they start to feel tired and hungry. They look for a place to rest, scanning the horizon for any sign of shelter or a friendly face. Finally, through the mist and gathering darkness, they spot a small village in the distance, its lights twinkling like tiny stars. The village has old houses with crooked roofs and these really narrow roads that twist and turn between stone cottages. Everything looks ancient, as if it's been untouched for centuries. They feel a little nervous as they approach, unsure of what kind of welcome they'll receive, but they hope to find shelter and maybe a warm meal. The village is quiet and mysterious, with only the sound of their footsteps echoing on the cobblestones. A thick mist hangs in the air, making everything look a bit eerie. David and Jack don't know that this place hides a dangerous secret, something lurking just beneath the surface of this peaceful-looking town. Their adventure is about to become very scary, and neither of them could have imagined what's waiting for them in the shadows. David and Jack find a pub called the Slaughtered Lamb. The sign outside shows a wolf's head. They step inside, just hoping to get warm and dry. The people inside are silent and, honestly, kind of just stare at them. The friends ask for food and try to talk to the villagers. The villagers seem strange and nervous. There's a pentagram on the wall, but nobody wants to explain why it's there. Jack asks about it, but people just give cold answers. David and Jack notice the tension and, yeah, they feel pretty unwelcome. Finally, the bartender warns them. She tells them to stay off the moors and stick to the road. The villagers repeat this warning, beware the moon. David and Jack leave the pub, feeling confused and uneasy. They don't know how important this warning is, or how much danger they are really in. David and Jack walk through the dark moors. The fog is thick, and the night is, really quiet. They try to remember the warning to stay on the road, but soon they get lost and walk off the path. Suddenly, they hear a strange howl in the distance. It sounds like a wild animal. The friends feel scared and hurry to find their way, but the howling just keeps getting closer. Without warning, a large beast jumps out and attacks them. Jack is hurt badly and falls. David tries to help, but the monster bites him too. The villagers from the pub arrive and shoot the beast. The creature dies, turning back into a man. Jack dies from his wounds, but David survives. He wakes up later in a hospital, not knowing what happened next. So after everything that happened, I was rushed to a hospital in London. The ambulance ride was a blur, and by the time I arrived, I could barely keep my eyes open. The hospital room was cold and unfamiliar, filled with the constant beeping of machines and the distant sounds of nurses moving through the halls. I felt incredibly weak, like all the strength had been drained from my body. My mind was foggy, and honestly, I was really confused about where I was and what had happened to me. Every time I tried to piece things together, it just made my head hurt more. The doctors came in and explained that I'd been attacked by some escaped madman. They spoke in hushed tones, glancing at each other as if there was more they weren't telling me. I could see the concern in their eyes, but their words didn't make sense to me. When I tried to remember that night, everything was a blur. It all felt like a nightmare. Flashes of fear, running, and something chasing me. The harder I tried to recall, the more it slipped away, leaving me feeling even more unsettled. During those first few days, there was this kind nurse named Alex Price who looked after me. She always had a gentle smile and a reassuring presence, which made the sterile hospital environment feel a little less lonely. Alex would sit by my bedside, talk to me, and even hold my hand when I was scared. Her kindness and patience really helped me as I tried to heal, both physically and emotionally. I also met Dr. Hirsch, the doctor in charge of my case. He seemed determined to get to the bottom of what had really happened to me. He asked a lot of questions and studied my medical charts with a serious look on his face. I tried to tell both Alex and Dr. Hirsch about the animal that attacked me, about the wild eyes and the feeling of being hunted. But no matter how much I insisted, nobody believed my story. They thought I was confused or traumatized. As my body slowly started to recover, I noticed things around me felt off. The air in the room seemed heavier, and sometimes I'd catch myself staring at the shadows, feeling like something was watching me. Then the dreams began. Every night I'd find myself running through a dark forest, my heart pounding as I chased after animals. Sometimes in the dream, I'd look down and see my hands changing, my body transforming into something monstrous. The fear was overwhelming. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, my heart racing, convinced that what I'd seen was real. The dreams felt so vivid, so real, that I started to dread falling asleep. I couldn't understand why I felt so different, both inside and out. My senses seemed sharper, and sometimes I'd catch strange smells or hear distant sounds no one else noticed. I had no idea that something deep inside me was changing, something I couldn't control or even begin to understand. All I knew was that nothing would ever be the same again. One night I see Jack's ghost in my hospital room. He looks so pale and wounded, it's honestly hard to believe. Jack tells me the truth. We were attacked by a werewolf. He warns me that I'll become a werewolf too. Jack's ghost keeps visiting me, and each time he looks worse than before. He tells me that I have to die to break the curse. If I don't, I'll end up hurting others when the full moon comes. Jack begs me to end my own life to save other people. I'm scared and I just don't want to believe him. I start to think I'm going crazy. I try to ignore the ghost, but Jack's warnings make me really afraid. Eventually, I'm released from the hospital. I stay with Nurse Alex, but I can't escape Jack's ghost or the fear of what might happen. I move in with Alex at her apartment in London, trying to live a normal life, but honestly, I feel nervous and restless all the time. Dr. Hirsch is still investigating the attack, hoping to find some answers. Pretty soon, the night of the full moon arrives. I'm alone in Alex's apartment, and I start to feel pain all over my body. I scream as my body begins to change. I turn into a werewolf. My face and hands twist and start to grow fur. My teeth become sharp, and I just turn into this wild beast. The transformation is so painful and honestly shocking. That night, as a werewolf, I leave the apartment and run through the streets of London, hunting for victims and causing terror all over the city. As a werewolf, I attack several people in London. I chase people through the subway and the streets, and the whole city is just full of fear and panic. Nobody knows what's happening or who's responsible. The next morning, I wake up in a strange place. I don't remember what I did as a werewolf. I'm scared and alone, realizing that I've killed people. I call Alex and Dr. Hirsch for help. I'm desperate and really don't know what to do. Jack's ghost appears again, urging me to stop the curse by ending my own life. Soon the police discover who I am and start chasing me through the city. I run, but there's really nowhere to hide. The chase leads me into a busy part of London. The police finally corner me in an alley. Alex tries to reach me, hoping she can help. She tells me that she loves me and begs me to stop. I start to change into a werewolf again. The police have no choice. They shoot me to protect the people nearby. I die, turning back into my human form. The film ends with Alex crying over my body. The curse is broken, but it comes at a great cost. The story of the American werewolf in London ends in sadness, but at least the danger is now over.